to the organizers. He couldn't make it. He's overseas at the moment. So as usual, he sent me last-minute advice for me to attend this noble forum here today. As soon as I walked in, I saw narcotics court. I never really Googled it, but I've been wondering about it when we have these discussions on drugs in this country. But when I saw it, it gives me hope. And hearing from you, sir, I think that's something that we should seriously consider. And after this session, I'll surely go and Google and research a bit more. Commander had prepared a paper which I'll bore you with for the next 10 minutes. From last month's interview on Fiji by the gentleman moderator, the commander had mentioned that drugs is becoming a national security issue. It is a national security issue. I think most of us, if you are not in the space of a security business, it might have flew right over your head. But when an issue is a national security issue, it sends a warning bell to the powers that be that they need to turn their attention into that particular security issue, because it will weaken governance and it will disrupt our everyday life in this beautiful country called Fiji. I was informed that I have 10 minutes to share this paper with you. Bear with me, please. The escalating drug epidemic gripping our society necessitates the direct involvement of the Republic of Fiji military forces to combat the issue, potentially utilizing firearms as a deterrent and a security measure. However, the potential risks associated with the RFMF's engagement in this capacity, particularly due to insufficient legislative support, underscore the critical need to strategize the RFMF's involvement effectively to assess the drug crisis in a pressing nation security concern with utmost caution and accountability. The commander is one of the chief security advisors to government. Please have that in the background. Under Section 131, he has the responsibility for security, safety, and well-being. I know there's a lot of talks on Section 131, but let's contextualize that particular section to the issue at hand that we are discussing at the moment. Problem statement: the growing drug problem in our society has reached a critical stage, prompting the consideration of direct involvement of the Republic of Fiji military forces to combat the issue. The involvement of the RFMF as a deterrent and security measure raises concerns about the risk associated with the RFMF's intervention in the absence of sufficient legislative support. It is imperative to strategically determine how the RFMF can best address the drugs crisis as a national security concern while mitigating the potential repercussions. This is his paper, not mine. Questions. What are the key factors contributing to rapid escalation of the drug problem in our society, warranting the RFMF's direct involvement and the use of firearms? How can the RFMF effectively use firearms as a deterrent and security measure in combating the drug issue while ensuring adherence to legal and ethical standards? What are the potential risks and challenges for the RFMF's involvement in addressing the drug crisis without adequate legislative support? And how can this be mitigated? In what ways can the RFMF be strategically utilized to confront the drug problem as a national security concern, considering the sensitive nature of military intervention in civilian matters? What legislative frameworks and mechanisms need to be established or strengthened to support and regulate the RFMF's involvement in combating the drug epidemic while safeguarding human rights and legal boundaries? How can collaborative efforts between the RFMF, law enforcement agencies, government institutions, community stakeholders be coordinated and leveraged to effectively address the drug crisis and enhance national security concerns? I'm listening to the Commissioner of Police's speech. What has happened since this drug issue has been raised, in the last few months or few years. Having lunch with Talanoa, we remember going to a lot of workshops and conventions regarding, the drug trade in the Pacific from 10, 15 years back. Nothing has happened. And I'm thankful to the United Nations Office of Drugs and Crime for coming up with this initiative, which hopefully, can drive the issue forward. It is a model I shared with him, but, we have to design a model that works for Fiji. And listening to the commissioner, I know that this can happen. We can assist the police in combating the drug problem that we have at the moment. Those questions that I just read out from the Commander RFMF, I sort of disagree with him on some of of his views, but we will deal with that later. Let me continue. The pervasive threat of illicit drugs has emerged as a pressing concern, rapidly infiltrating and destabilizing our society, with the drug problem reaching alarming proportions and posing significant risks to public health, safety and national security. There is a growing call for decisive action to address this complex issue. It's not a narco state yet, but if we keep on sleeping, it will become a narco state. In response to the escalating drug epidemic, the proportion of direct involvement of the Republic of Fiji military forces has put forth a potential strategy to combat drug-related crimes and activities. This proposal includes the utilization of firearms as a deterrent and means of enhancing security measures in tackling the drug issues. However, the prospect of the RFMF's engagement in such capacity raises critical questions regarding the risks involved, particularly in the absence of robust legislative support and clear guidelines governing military intervention in civilian matters. As we navigate this juncture, where the drug problem has evolved into a significant national security concern, it becomes imperative to explore how the RFMF can be effectively mobilized and utilized to confront the challenges posed by these illicit drugs while ensuring accountability, legality, and protection of fundamental human rights. This introduction sets the stage for an in-depth examination of the complexities surrounding the RFMF's potential role in addressing the drug epidemic and an essential consideration that must be taken into account to safeguard both societal well-being and military integrity. This paper is being prepared to be presented to our relevant ministry and to government. I won't bore you with the details. I'll just give you a preview there, then I will go on to our suggestions. I'm happy the Honorable Attorney General is here. We know this place very well. We were both students here in 1987. First, strengthen legislative frameworks. Enhance existing laws and regulations to provide clear guidance of the RFMF's mandate, authority and responsibilities in drug control efforts. Establish robust oversight mechanism, accountability structures, procedural safeguards to ensure compliance with legal standards and human rights. Number two, prioritize collaboration and partnership. Foster collaboration among the RFMF, law enforcement agencies, government institutions, and communities to create a unified and coordinated response to the drug crisis. Develop joint strategies, share resources and expertise, and engage with diverse stakeholders to maximize the impact of intervention and promote the sustainable incomes. I know it's the same thing all over and over again, but we need to move forward. And if we have to say it again, then let it be. 3, promote community engagement and empowerment. Implement community-driven initiatives that raise awareness, build capacity, and mobilize support for drug intervention, treatment, and recovery programs. Empower communities to take ownership of anti-drug efforts, participate in decision-making process, and advocate for policy changes that address the underlying social determinants of drug abuse. 4, embrace a multi-faceted approach. He has spoken on this in the past few months, that we need to have a task force. In our belief that this is a national security problem, a national security issue, we need to have a task force. Last year's Attorney General's Conference, the British ambassador or the British High Commissioner straight out mentioned that the British government is ready to help. We need to take it on board. Our partners in Australia and New Zealand, under the Australia, under the Wuwale initiative, there's help out there. We just need to grasp it. 5, uphold ethical standards and human rights. And that's self-explanatory. By implementing these recommendations, Fiji can leverage the RFMF's capacities effectively and responsibly in addressing the drug problem as a national security concern. A balanced and integrated approach that prioritizes collaboration, community engagement, legal compliance, ethical conduct can pave the way for sustainable progress in combating the drug epidemic and creating a safer, healthier and more resilient society for all its citizens. That's the end of his paper. Before I came to present his speech, I sent him a message, and I will share that with us before I take my seat. I asked him, "What's your view, sir? Why is there inaction?" His answer is, "People don't know where to start. There is no strategic and operational intent from the government. That is the first sign of inaction. It's all words. Everyone knows that police need help. They have their internal strifes. Why is still there no compol? Is government looking for someone that fits their agenda? We need to set the right priorities. Our first obligation should be the safety and well-being of the people." Thank you very much for your attention.